Thema Clung, Art to Monologues, where I talk and you don't. And you can make a comment in the comment section below if there is one, depending on where you're listening to this at. All right, so let's just do some odds and ends here. All right, here we go. I think you're wrong. I think that what you said is wrong. I could say that I know what you said is wrong, but let's not push it. You might have a stroke trying to argue with me and then blame me for it. Most often, there really isn't any argument. Like I've mentioned before and in the previous episodes, the sky is up. Where's the argument? There isn't any. The sky is up. That's just a fact. Not my opinion. All right? Some things are just true. And some things are just not true. You understand? All right. Okay. I can demolish a false premise or a lie with a paper knife. It's called logic. Logic is based on mathematical thinking. If you're bad with math, bad at math, you probably are bad at being logical. And you're most likely not reason able. Repeat that one. Reason able. I remember thinking in high school, how can these kids not get straight A's in math class? I mean, I did. And, it's not that hard. You don't have to be a genius to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And you don't have to be a genius to be able to reason through a problem. If you've got the figures and you have the formula for doing the mathematical equation, I mean, if you have the equation, you can work out the problem if you've got the skills to do math. That's all it is. Some people like to call it critical thinking. I prefer logical thinking. I have taken somebody's statement, torn it apart, based on the simple fact that they used the word incorrectly. Now, before you get all huffy and self-righteous here, yeah, maybe at times I'm you're a grammar Nazi. Yeah, well, if I am, deal with it. The fact of the matter is, someone has to point out the bad grammar in order to, how do I put it, clear up the garbage out of the airwaves. People hear stuff, it's trash, and they believe it. Apparently because they don't have critical thinking skills. Possibly because they can't do math. 2 and 2 is 4. Another fact. That's just true. As far as I know, 2 plus 2 is always equaled 4. Always has, always will. Don't give me that stuff. I know it. Somebody is going to come up with, yeah, but in computers, numbers are zeros and twos and shit. Yeah, forget that. That's not the point. That's not, shall we say, the common mathematical formulas that is used in critical thinking. If you want to talk about physics and all that, you might have your own little numbers game that you play in order to do that. That's fine. That's not the point. That's another concern or issue in some other topic, let's say. But if you can count to 10, then you can count to 11. And like I said, I thought in school, and I don't want to be sexist here and say anything about, particular gender, but when I was in high school and there's this girl, might have been junior high actually, and she said, "It's so hard." And I'm thinking, no, it's not. What? I mean, what? But I don't need all this. Really? I'd like to see that 15-year-old girl now and see how often she's used mathematics in her life. Yeah. And I'd like her to tell me now, at that age, my age, now, and tell me, I've never used math in my life. Yeah, well, if you didn't use math, you didn't live very long. I'm thinking, I can't imagine anybody doing anything without some grasp of mathematics. But it's hard. No, it's not. 2 and 2 is 4. 5 and 5 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That's not hard. You got fingers. I mean, I saw the girl, here I am with the girl thing again. Okay, I'm sorry. Not biased against girls here. Just happens to be the memory I have is, the girl was doing that. She was counting on her fingers. But didn't you just write it down? I mean, you had a paper and pencil right there in front of you. Now, I'm going to confess, doing things in my head used to be a little bit more difficult than actually writing it down on a piece of paper. I like the idea of a nice piece of paper, blank, my pencil and my pen, making those marks on the paper and doing the math. That's the lazy way. And my dad, bless his heart, he's been dead for 40 some years. I miss that guy. Anyway, I digress. I really have some difficulty doing math in my head. Someone would say, what's 12 times 12? And I'm thinking, now that's easy because I know that one by heart. But as an example, and someone would say 12 times 12. Well, let's make it complicated. Let's say 10 times 12. Oh, that's nothing more complicated. All right, 10 times 12, that's 120. Yeah, bam, got it in my head. But to see some girl, and I certainly cannot remember the exact question in the math problem in the class at that time, but, a long time ago. But I can remember, her trying to figure out the answer to this question with her fingers. And I'm going to tell you, I think she probably got it. But she was doing with the fingers and the fingers and the fingers, and fingers like an abacus, but using her fingers or something. And I thought, if you're going to go to all that trouble with your fingers, why not just write it down? I mean, come on. So anyway, I did good when I actually could write it down and figure it up in my head that way. But over the years, I've done some math in my head exercises, and I've gotten better at it. It's a good thing. So anyway, here's the thing. I lost my place. All right. Then it's not surprising that people who are bad at math have difficulty being logical, thinking logically. and reasoning through different problems. You can't calculate your way through the facts and the evidence and the multitudes of data available to you on any particular subject, whatever it may be, and you can't come up with a calculated logical conclusion. How do you expect to come up with a correct answer? Not likely. By accident, maybe. Are you going to take credit for that? I just accidentally come up with the answer and it was quick. You were guessing and the odds were in your favor. You had a 50-50 chance and you lucked out. It's all formula stuff. Here's one. Fact 2 plus fact 2 equals logical conclusion 4. Also a fact. It's that simple. Let's try one that's a little bit difficult, a little bit more harder. All right. What could we use here? All right. I just read an article on one of the social media places that will go nameless. Starts with a G. And and the article or the post that the guy put up was something about Dr. Fauci, being a terrible human being and because he tortured puppies. Well, I thought, that doesn't make sense. I mean, in the first place, who would torture puppies? Well, of course, it was about a research program in someplace, Tunisia, I think it was, where the lab may or may not have tortured the puppies during a research program. Something about sand flies or something. And this article, or this person that posted this, was saying he tortured puppies, and he gave, not him, probably not him personally, but an effect was he gave $1 million plus to the research lab that tortured puppies. The implication is that he gave the money himself out of his own pocket or something, and he's got the foundation that he's involved in, and that they tortured puppies and he gave them the money and they did that. All right. The other thing is, he personally tortured puppies. Really? Okay. So the other thing was that he's a bad guy because of that. That he's a monster. He tortured puppies. Right? And I'm thinking, there's something wrong with this picture. That just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right at all. So I'm always hearing people on these social media things saying, do your own research. Think for yourself. The problem with that is if you do your own research and find out that what they said is not true or not factual, as in word, or was just an outright lie, or if you find out when you do your own research that what that person said or what that article said is just simply not true. And then you say, according to the research that you told me I should do, that's not true. And you're a liar. Now, when I say someone's a liar, the problem is they are a liar because they told a lie. But The fact is, they thought that they were telling something that was true. They thought that they believed what they said. And apparently they didn't do their own research. They just took the word out of some article or some post that somebody else put on the internet. They didn't research it. They just took the word of the lunatic that said the lie in the first place. This is common in America. Very common. Especially when it comes to certain things. For example, this word means something else. Then, this word means this. And I'm thinking, but no, it doesn't. And, do your research. Look in the dictionary, and you'll find that the word doesn't mean that. Now, there are some dictionaries online that like to commit fraud and other criminal acts by incorporating a certain definition of a word in their dictionary online. The name of that dictionary will go nameless. But the word dictionary comes to mind in their, whatever. So anyway, but they include it because that's the definition that people are using, even though it's not the right definition. It's sort of like saying, we're going to say the definition of this word is such and such a thing, when it's not, but we're going to say it, and therefore the guy in the dictionary is going to include that in the dictionary as that's what the word means, in addition to the real definitions, because a lot of people think that's what it means, even though it doesn't mean that at all. And how do you get to this point that you actually thought that the word meant that? Well, I read it somewhere on the internet. Yeah, well, guess what? You read something that was a lie, and you believed it. You're a fool. Like, for example, the word child, which was incorporated into the federal law for the first time in history, as far as I know. The word child now has a legal definition, according to the law, which is made up by a bunch of yahoo dumbfucks who think that they have the power to just change English language and change the meanings of words just because they want to. Well, actually, because they have an agenda, they're trying to turn the English language into babble. Why? To confuse people and to control and manipulate people. Yeah, this is not a conspiracy theory, dude. This is what they're doing. All right. They're doing it. The word child never, ever meant what Title 18 of the U.S. Code says it means. No, it doesn't. They just made it up, fabricated it out of thin air. I think from now on it's going to mean this. For a bad reason, and I'm not going to get into that here, but I've spoke about it before. So anyway, back to Fauci and his dog puppy torturing days. Well, turns out it took me about 3 seconds to do a search. Google, Edge, Go Fuck Me, whatever the search engine you choose to pick. All right, about 3 seconds, bam. Here comes some. Here's the research. Bam, right there. I think we'll click on this one and see what it says. It's from a reputable, a place that actually has some credibility. Open that one up and read what that says, and here it is. Da 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 da. Guess what? It says, nope, he didn't do that. No, he didn't give them money to torture puppies. And I thought, I thought there was something funny about that statement that he did. I thought there was something funny about that. Turns out his organization, the Allergy Foundation or whatever the heck it was, the thing he's the head of, turns out that organization did not give $1 million to that lab in Tunisia to torture puppies. Didn't happen. And you know you can prove that because people have the resources to do research beyond what I have the capacity to do, and do the research in, let's say, the financial records of the foundation or the charitable or whatever they call it, the research foundation, allergies and stuff. Yeah, because it's like public knowledge. I mean, it's out there in the public. You just find it and read it. It's their official log of where their money goes. They have to file that because they're like a corporation or whatever, and you know, you just don't get to do whatever you want. They actually have to report money and where it goes. Not saying that everybody does that. Some people do things illegally. Duh. Any rate, his organization did not give that lab $1 million to do that with the puppies. No, didn't happen. Didn't fucking happen. And did he torture puppies? No, because he didn't go to that lab and do that. Where those puppies were allegedly tortured. Didn't happen. Therefore, my little bit of research there in about 5 minutes told me from credible sources with links to, you know, those resources that give them that information, you know, like the secretary of an organization said, here's the financial report, and nowhere on there does it say I gave him, my organization gave $1 million to that lab in Tunisia to torture puppies. It's not there. See? Freedom of Information Act, for example, will get you a lot of things, even if some things are redacted. I mean, seriously, people. Now, most people don't have time to do all the research and wait for Freedom of Information Acts and file legal suits and all that stuff. But the truth is, it didn't happen. It's not true. And people will continue to put forth that premise, even though it's a lie, even though it's a proven fucking lie. They will continue to ignore the facts and ignore the logic and ignore everything that anyone says that proves that they're lying and that it's not true because, oh, it just doesn't fit their agenda of, you know, being nasty to Dr. Fauci. Now, I'm not saying Dr. Fauci's not a bad guy or didn't do something bad or didn't do something wrong somewhere along the line, or that his recommendations or guidelines in dealing with a pandemic is all good and bad, good and awesome and wonderful and all that. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the thing about the torturing puppies. That's it. I'm not talking about anything to do with the pandemic or Dr. Fauci's guidelines or any of that. That's nothing to do with what I'm talking about. And there's the other problem. Because people will say, I'm talking about Fauci, so I must be talking about something else that has something to do with Fauci. And no, focus on the one subject or the one issue, period. Don't want to talk about anything else. This is not about the pandemic. It's nothing to do with the pandemic. I'm not talking about the pandemic. But you want to insist that, not you, but some people, you will insist that I am. And I'm not. And the only time I've mentioned the pandemic at all was just now when I said I'm not talking about the pandemic or Fauci's involvement in the situation. And yet they will say, you're defending that torture of animals. Well, since he didn't, then I don't have to defend him. The facts defend him. The facts say you're a liar, and the facts say you didn't. Case closed. Stop saying you did. Now, see, there's the problem. Stop lying. Stop spreading lies. Why? Because lies are not a good thing. And even if I despise and disrespect and hold in utter contempt anyone, like Donald Trump, for example, I'm not going to tell a lie about Donald Trump. just to further an agenda to promote my despising that man. Okay? Just not going to lie. It's against my nature. It's against principles. It's just wrong. I'm going to spread lies. And if I should say something that turns out to be a lie or not true, I'm going to say, you know what? I just found out that what I said was not true. Well, that doesn't happen very often. It happens, but not often. And when it does, I'm going to be the first one to admit it because I don't want to be known for telling a lie. I don't lie. It's a principle. It's a rule that I live by. All right. So here's the thing. Did a little research on my own, did it. And when I present this research, results of this research to the person that is saying, do your own research, they get all huffy and puffy, call me names and shit, yeah, you're an idiot, you're a communist, whatever. Because I actually did the research and proved them wrong, and then they get all defensive and try to, blame it on me. You're the bad guy because you proved me wrong, kind of thing. They don't say that. They want to insist that they're still right even though they're proven wrong. That's just ridiculous. That's absurd. Why would anybody do that? I know, self-esteem and all that, but seriously. It doesn't show good character. It shows that you have no credibility. It shows that you have no character and no honor and no self-esteem. It's just pathetic. All right, so that's the Fauci torturing the puppy dog thing. No, not true. And those people who want to spread that lie are guilty of a lie, since I've just proven it's a lie. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be, not everybody that tells that lie or spreads that lie is going to hear this podcast and then, realize that they made a fool of themselves. They're going to keep innocently and ignorantly, let's say, ignorantly, not innocently, ignorantly spreading the lie. And that's a problem in this country. I'm not suggesting we censor people, like Facebook, like, that's misinformation. You're spreading misinformation. Well, if the people spreading the lie about Fauci was putting that on Facebook, maybe Facebook would say, it's a lie, and kind of censor that. And that's just wrong. But, censorship is always wrong. I don't care what it is, even if it's a lie. And even if you're perpetuating a lie that's been proven to be a lie, even if everybody proves that you, that told the lie, are a freaking liar. You can keep saying the lie all you want. It is our responsibility as civilized, decent, intelligent, sane human beings to, challenge the lie and not let it stand. All right? That's our duty as human beings, as decent people. There are innocent people going to leave that nonsense and perpetuate it even further and cause damage to somebody like Fauci's reputation. Now, I'm not saying his reputation is good in other situations and circumstances and subjects, but in this particular case, I'm sorry, but he's innocent. And you're therefore slandering and libeling that guy for nothing, just because you're being an asshole. It's time to stop this nonsense. Now, I'm not saying censorship. I'm saying grow up, be intelligent a little bit, be decent as a human being, and stop lying about this particular subject. Well, anything, actually. But in particular, stop lying about this. It's not true. You understand? But logic tells us, in the beginning, we get this kind of feeling about this, a logical feeling that says there's something wrong with this story. It doesn't make sense. Why would that happen? Why would he do that? Why are you saying that? Well, you're saying it because you want to destroy someone's reputation. You want to defame somebody. You want to libel and slander somebody. You have an agenda. Your agenda is more important to you than the truth. Like Donald Trump. He won the election. No, you didn't, Donald. You lost. That's a fact. Any research can tell you that that's true. I don't want to hear the truth. I won the election, damn it. No, you didn't. And you're a liar. Who wants the president that's a liar, by the way? He's a liar. Why would you want him to be president? I mean, that's disgusting. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. That's good enough for this time. I think I made my point. Be logical. Think logical. If you can't, if you're not reason able, if you can't do math, then you're probably not going to be able to be logical, and you're probably not going to be able to figure out what's wrong with things, and you're not going to be able to figure out how to solve a problem because you got this pandemic, coronavirus. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to fix it? How are we going to stop it? How are we going to protect people from getting it? How are we going to keep people from dying from it? What are we going to do? What? And you think logically, well, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and see what happens. And if it works, bingo. If it doesn't work, think logically some more, because obviously your first logical thoughts were slightly defective since it didn't work. Lockdowns, for example, didn't work. Maybe you shouldn't do that again. Wearing a mask. Well, we know that mask mandates in certain states didn't do any good, but those places where there weren't mask mandates kind of like didn't have it so bad. Where's other factors? Let's be logical and see what the other factors are before we conclude one single thing or one single element of that paradigm. Let's be reasonable and let's be logical. You know, like this guy, like, 800,000 children disappear in America every year. If your brain doesn't grab onto that illogical statement, like, bam, in a nanosecond, you're thinking with a vegetable. Because that's just outrageous. That's just beyond comprehension. It's just not even close to logical. Do a little research, which also took me about, 5 minutes. Turns out, nope, didn't happen, not true, total lie. And the guy that was repeating it just repeated it from some other lunatic that said it first down the line somewhere. It's bullshit. Nope, didn't happen. Pizzagate, children underneath in the basement of the pizza. No, didn't happen. Fact, didn't fucking happen. But still, people still saying shit like that. And by the way, with the 800,000 children, nope, didn't happen. A few, yes, a few happened, few disappeared, few are found. Mostly, they're found. And almost all of them, we know where they were, what happened, where they went, blah, blah, blah. By the way, if 800 children disappeared every year, you know how long? In 10 years, there wouldn't be any children running around in the streets of America. They'd all be disappeared in like 10 years. Actually, a little longer than that, mathematically speaking, but just say it. 800,000 becomes 8 million in 10 years. If 8 million children disappeared in this country over a period of 10 years, do you think for even a second, even a nanosecond, that parents around this country would be up in arms instead of just being on the internet and acting like a bunch of hysterical nuts? They would actually be saying, police department, where's my kid? And just imagine 800,000 parents times 2, that'll be 1.6 million parents down at the police station. Just divide that over a period of a year, and how many is that a day? See, that's one of the math problems I could probably do in my head if I had the time, but I'm running out of time here. And so it's just, you do the math on it. You can do the math. Divide that up. 1.6 million parents every year, mind you, every year for like forever, apparently. Divide that up over how many parents would be, divide that by 365 days a year, and that would tell you how many parents a day, head up to the police department and say, my kid's missing, he disappeared, find my kid. I'm pretty sure that would be headline news if, like 5,000 people showed up at the police department every year. I mean, every day after day after day after day after day. I'm pretty sure it'd be in the headlines. I don't think there was a way in hell you could keep that secret. Yeah, they're covering it up. They're covering it up. Yeah, well, not possible. Because 800,000, let's say, 800,000 parents would not allow that to happen. Let's be logical, people. Be logical. You understand? All right. So think on all that. Think through it. Be logical. Be mathematical. Be systematic in your thinking. Try. Just fucking try to think rationally and logically and do some critical thinking. And for God's sakes, do your own damn research like they said. And when you do the research, just bear in mind there's a lot of shit on the internet, so not all of the shit is actually valid research and it doesn't actually tell you anything. All right, I'm going to go. It's late. Talk to you later. D. McClung, Archer Monologues. Goodbye.